Well, welcome everybody to another Kentucky Derby prep race preview show here at TwinSpires. As today we are going to focus in my backyard, the Withers Stakes, James, that was supposed to be run last week, but it was about minus 20 degrees last weekend in New York. So it got pushed back a week. The mile and an eighth event going to take place this Saturday. Draws a field of 7 here with a short-priced morning line favorite in the form of Arctic Arrogance. And James, obviously this is a horse that's done little wrong in 5 starts. He's never missed the exacta. He's got a lot of speed. He's drawn down to the inside. Not a whole lot to knock, except the price is going to be very short.
That's correct. Never worse than second, like you mentioned. I was a little bit dubious of his last effort in the Jerome. That Lugan Knight chipped in from Churchill and beat him, I thought, pretty handily, even though it was a half-length margin. So it's interesting to see Linda Rice add the blinkers. I wouldn't be surprised to see Arctic show a little bit more speed than he did in that last start.
Yeah, the blinkers going on, drawn down to the inside. You have to figure that he's going to get aggressive here. He does have a race at a mile and an eighth, and it certainly was a decent one at that. So Arctic Arrogance, obviously a deserving favorite. Interesting horse that I didn't pick, but is a bit of a wild card, is Jungfrau, who's never finished first in the race, but was posted first via disqualification when breaking his maiden on New Year's Eve at Gulfstream Park. Mott obviously has to be pretty high on this horse because this is a fairly aggressive spot for him. Son of Arrogate out of a Tappet mare by the name of Southbank, stretching out to go a mile and an eighth for the first time, but is regally bred for Jun Mott. Looks to be a bit of a wild card in this field.
He really does. And, this is a Arrogate colt that really regal female family. You get down fourth generations, you get to Viviana and all these real hard hitters. But you get in his first 2 starts, I thought Jungfrau was just figuring things out, didn't run very well in those races. And I thought he was a little bit racing in spots, immature, you could say. I thought last time out, that was a much improved effort. I don't know if he was naturally just going to go by Expect More, but when Expect More came out and slammed into him, leaving the far turn, I thought that really upset the horse, and he really went at it hard. And I thought that was a really good, positive, encouraging effort. It wasn't that fast, the race, and obviously Expect More came back and ran poor at short odds in his next start. He can't get out of the gate very well, but he does have some upside. Bill Mott ran 1-2 last week in the Holy Bull with horses making their graded stakes debut. He's got Jungfrau in the Withers and Classic Legacy in the Sam Davis. His 3-year-olds, or you could make a case, are really coming on, Darin.
Yeah, Mott certainly has stamped himself a player this year on the Derby trail, to say the very least. Another guy that's always a player is Brad Cox. I landed here on Hit Show. Nothing fantastic about the horse's price. He's going to be a likely second choice in here. Been off since December the 17th when he was an emphatic winner against what was a pretty solid group of allowance runners. He has a bullet work or a couple of bullet workouts since then. His lone disappointing effort was as a short-priced favorite in a race where he really didn't get off to a good beginning, and I thought probably was farther back than he really wants to be. He's bred to run all. He's been freshened up nicely for this. Hit Show for me is a horse that certainly has a world of upside.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. One thing about him is this great colt, Hit Show, is an off-the-pace runner. Hasn't, it's been at best at the first call 5th in 3 starts, so he's going to be running late with Manny Franco picking up the mount. I'm a little concerned about his speed ratings. Granted, I understand horses that are lightly raced like him with 2 or 3 starts, those numbers can increase significantly as they continue to develop. But to me, taking a short price in a Kentucky Derby qualifier in mid-February on a horse that hadn't run fast is sort of kind of thing that I lean against. And I guess I won't be surprised to see Hit Show win the Withers, but I'm going to try to beat him at low odds, Darin.
Yep, and you're going to try to beat him with a horse shipping in for a trainer that you always have to pay attention to when he shows up, and that's Butch Reed with number 6, 90% Maddie. This is a horse that does certainly look good down in Bensalem, PA, winning his first 3 starts of the year, of his career, I should say. Came back last time, was a good second in the Parks Juvenile. The big question mark with him, in addition to getting away from Parks for the first time, is the stretch out to the mile and an eighth. He's a Pennsylvania bred. Obviously, the pedigree doesn't necessarily have the glamour or up in the names of lights that we see with some of these other horses, but you respect these connections when they show up, James. I know I certainly do. And if you're going to strike, you might as well strike when he's 8-1.
90% Maddie, yes, a lot of fair points. He's by a sprinter. Weegley was a sprinter, throws a lot of sprinters, understand the concern. One thing I will say, his dam, Amblin Easy, multiple stakes placed in route races. So that's a good sign. I'm hoping he takes some stamina from that dam side. Um, his first three races, he won them all. I thought he was in the clear in all three races. His last two starts at Penn Nursery, Parks Juvenile, he breaks from the inside. He rushes forward, going into the far turn. He starts backing out and coming under a ride. I thought he was claustrophobic, didn't like being inside of horses. Once he got in the clear in both races, he re-rallies and really coming on strong, ran out of ground. I mean, he was flying late in that Parks Juvenile against Recruit, who is 4 for 4 and is a 3-year-old to watch moving forward. I think 90% Maddie gets that outside trip. And I think he's going to be on the front end. And I think he has a chance to outrun his odds in the Withers.
Interesting, because you had mentioned to me off camera that if this race was run last week, you wouldn't have liked him as much, but now he's moving from the rail to post 6. So that has changed your opinion on him.
Absolutely. Because I know that, he's not going to be clear of Arctic Arrogance. He's going to be right next to him, ideally, or within like a head or a neck of him. So he was going to get that same inside trip theoretically last week. I like that draw outside. I'll take a little shot at him at a price in a race that, to me, got a lot of contenders in here. Nobody's truly distinguished themselves, though.
Yep, certainly do agree. 90% Maddie for James. I'm going to land on number 4, Hit Show, as we both try to beat the morning line favorite Arctic Arrogance in the Grade 3 Withers. Race number 9 on Saturday at Aqueduct. And of course, this race is a part of the $100,000 Road to the Kentucky Derby leaderboard contest. If you make a win wager in this race and your horse earns Kentucky Derby qualifying points, you will also earn those points and climb the leaderboard and stake your claim to a share of $100,000. So be sure to be opted in and playing all Derby trail season long with us at TwinSpires. For James Scully, this is Darin Zoccali signing off. We'll talk to you again soon, further down the trail to the Triple Crown.